What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another reaction. Today we got a video from History Matters. We got, why did China invade India in 1962? China, what are you getting up to, man? Why you invaded India? Let's get it.
After World War II, conflict between major nations became much rarer. Yet, in 1962, a large-scale land war broke out between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of India over these lands.
Right.
And after the war, this bit was taken from India and became a part of China. But given how things were at the time with the Cold War and how unsure the outcome was, why did China invade India? So, as of the 1960s, the Indian-Chinese border looked like this and was the result of careful consideration between the two peoples, and of course it wasn't. The border had been drafted by Britain in the early 20th century in an agreement with...
Bro, I watch all these videos, right? I've seen a lot of History Matters. And in most of the videos, Britain is mentioned or have to do with something, man. Why do we just dabble into everything, bro? It's literally because we took over nearly, more than half of the fucking world back in the day, but...
Tibet and China. And by agreement, I mean
just everywhere.
Which Britain declared the border between India and China to be this, and that Tibet was now a Chinese puppet state. The Chinese refused to accept this, mostly because they hadn't been invited to the conference, but the British didn't care and considered it to be a done deal.
Of course.
Now, India gained its independence in 1947, and along with its freedom, it also gained a territorial dispute. One which was made worse when China annexed Tibet in 1951, and since it was one of India's most important trading partners, it soured relations. Tensions rose until 1954, when India and China came to an agreement in which they agreed to respect each other's territorial integrity and increase trade. This was up until 1960, when Tibet was host to a failed uprising, and the crackdown afterwards damaged India's ties in the region. The Indian Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, was critical of China's response and gave shelter to those fleeing the region. This angered the Chinese government, and its foreign minister Zhou Enlai pushed for a military response to do two things.
Do you know what I wondered, right? It has nothing to do with this kind of, but I was just looking on the map, and you got India and you got China. I'm pretty sure China has the most population, right? It's like 1 billion. I don't even know the number now, but last time I knew it was like 1 billion something. And I'm pretty sure India's got like 700 million, maybe more. I could be wrong though. Why do they they're not that big of countries? It'll be interesting to know, why do they have such a population size? What the fuck is going on there? Is it because they had less wars and less deaths, so the population just kept growing and it was never halted or anything? Or bro, they just fuck a lot? What's going on, bro? Why is there so many people in India and China?
One, take this territory, which was populated largely by Indians of Chinese descent, and two, dissuade India from supporting any Tibetan rebels in the future. As such, spies were sent into northern India to lay the groundwork for an invasion, and the Chinese built up infrastructure in the border regions and started to move soldiers there. The Indians, fearing an escalation, created the forward policy, which would build up their border defences and make India's claim to the land indisputable. They also approached the Western powers for advanced weapons to defend themselves, a request that the West denied because India was seen as being too soft in communism. As such, the New Delhi government turned to the Soviet Union, who, having fallen out with China, was happy to make an ally and damage a former friend.
Well, that's interesting, because China and Russia are friends.
After small-scale clashes between Indian and Chinese forces, 40,000 Chinese soldiers crossed into India here, which itself only had several thousand soldiers in the region. The Chinese leadership wanted a quick war because their military was both unsure as to how well India was prepared and also believed that they couldn't win a war of attrition. And launching an attack in October was useful too, since soon after the fighting began, the United States and the Soviet Union were too busy with a certain Cuban Missile Crisis to do anything about it. At first, China performed well and pushed into the area with ease, and Zhou Enlai pushed for peace negotiations, which Nehru rejected. And a month after Chinese...
Bro, China literally went into that part of India, right? Took over that little part and was like, yo, you know what? We're here now. Can we have it?
Forces had crossed into India. They had reached the edge of China's claim to territory, and so they declared a ceasefire, meaning that the war was effectively over. Because China didn't want to push its luck, and India wasn't in a position to respond.
Yeah, China just wants a little bit of land.
This war had many long-term effects. The loss pushed India to modernize its military and begin the development of nuclear weapons, and the snub by the West pushed it closer to the USSR.
Of course.
And Pakistan gained too when itself and China settled their own disputes over their common border.
Wait, is Pakistan split into two? It really trips me out. There's a couple countries that do that, and Pakistan might be one of them. Where it's got Pakistan on the left of India and then Pakistan on the right. Imagine you got family in you live in Pakistan, you got family in Pakistan. You're like, oh yeah, I got family in Pakistan, but that is all you have to go across India. Fuck me.
Which in turn pulled Pakistan away from the West.
Yeah, it does.
Since due to the increased trade, they'd gotten more from Beijing than they ever had from Washington or London, which completely changed the balance of power in the region. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Actually, really interesting video. Really good video. I enjoyed that one. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it too. Let me know what you guys think to it in the comment section. If you got any videos that you want me to check out in the future, link them also down below as well. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.